Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please feel free to write me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding this video or any other video that I've posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Today's video is a perfect example that it comes from a viewer. Someone wrote to me and said, can you make an egg foo young? In fact, I received that yesterday. Last night, I thought about the egg foo young dish before I went to bed. And I dreamt about it at a time when I was a college student working as a cook in a Chinese restaurant. So when I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning, I decided I'm going to go in the kitchen and work out this recipe and then make a video. The funny thing is that I have not thought about this dish since I work in this Chinese restaurant now nearly 50 years ago. It is time almost all Chinese restaurant has a Cantonese base. In many ways, it is a hybrid dish that puts multiple elements together from the Chinese cuisine as well in many respects from the traditional American cuisine. The term egg foo young actually comes from the Cantonese name Fu Yong Dan, which describes this dish. Now, Fu Yong represents hibiscus, and Dan means egg. Hibiscus is a flower with very soft and tender petal, and this is what the dish is like. In a scrambled, you can see that the texture of the egg is extremely soft, and it's almost like a hibiscus. Egg foo young is a derivation of Fu Yong Dan, and its adaptation for the American taste. In many ways, it has a deep root that you can find in Fu Yong Dan. Okay, let's go into the kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to make egg foo young and how egg foo young is different from scrambled. I'm going to cook this dish in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. The first thing I do is that I season the wok with my smart seasoning method. In order to cook this dish successfully, the wok must have a non-stick cook surface so the egg will not stick to it. I'm going to cook this dish with 6 eggs because I intend it to be enough for 2 people as a meal. Now I'm going to fill the egg up with sweet corn as well as some frozen vegetable mix. Both of them are frozen, come directly from the freezer, and you don't need to thaw them out because they work very well by adding them directly to the wok. Now traditionally an egg foo young using what one would call Asian vegetables. For example, they will use bean sprouts, water chestnut, cabbage, and quite often some shiitake mushroom. In fact, what you are going to fill the egg foo young is not important. It is the final outcome, the texture of the egg foo young, and most importantly is the gravy that you're going to make that will define the primary characteristics of the egg foo young. And this is what I call template-based cooking. You use the template that will provide you with the central characteristics of this dish, and you can make modifications accordingly based on what is available to you, as well as what your personal preference is going to be. One major difference between an egg foo young and a scrambled is that the skin of the egg foo young is more like an omelette. In other words, it is harder, whereas a scrambled, the skin is very soft, very willowy, as the term explained, hibiscus. So in this case, I'm going to fry the egg a little bit longer than I normally would with a scrambled to create a harder shell. The cooking technique, as you can see, is quite different in the case of making an egg foo young versus a scrambled. In the case with a scrambled, I would have used a spatula to push the egg from the outside to the inside so that it would facilitate the speed of cooking the scrambled. But in the case of egg foo young, I'm just going to let it sit and let it fry longer. And this is very similar to when you're actually cooking an omelette. After I feel that I have created a hard enough shell for the egg foo young, I start to use the wok spatula to gently flip the egg over. In this case, I flip the egg over in such a way actually very similar like when I'm making an omelette. But however, in this case, I'm not necessarily need to make a perfect omelette, so it doesn't matter, and this makes making this dish much easier than making an egg omelette. So this is very much similar to an egg omelette. The shell of this egg foo young is much harder than in the case when compared to a scrambled. And this is one of the primary characteristics of egg foo young and how it differs from a scrambled. The remaining step in cooking this egg foo young is very simple. Now I just flip the egg over and over again until I feel that I have reached the type of texture that I want. Now remember, in the case of egg foo young, you want the skin of the egg foo young more like an egg omelette. Therefore, I'm going to cook them a little bit longer in comparison if I have been cooking this for the purpose of a scrambled. At the end, I'm going to season the dish with my Wok with Tak basic seasoning mix. This will enhance the natural flavor of the food ingredients. And I have this available on Amazon, and I will have the link below the video if you would like to give it a try. And then I also have a video describing all the components that are in this seasoning mix, which is designed to provide umami flavor for the food ingredients. I'm going to set the dish aside. The next step in completing this egg foo young dish is to make a gravy. Now this is what makes this dish so unusual. In fact, egg foo young do not exist in Chinese cuisine because Chinese cuisine would never have used a gravy, and this is the reason for me egg foo young never seems to me like a Chinese dish. And there are many ways to make a gravy for the egg foo young dish, and the approach that I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a cornstarch based gravy. So first of all is that I'm going to make a cornstarch water suspension. To create this gravy, I'm going to use 1 part of cornstarch to 4 parts of water. So in this case, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to 8 tablespoons of water. I put the cornstarch and water in a bottle so I can shake them and to mix the content really well. I want to make sure the cornstarch is well suspended in the water. I'm going to make the gravy right in the wok after I remove the egg. You don't need to wash the wok. I put the wok back on the stove and I turn the heat to low. Now when I add the cornstarch water suspension to the wok, everything seems to start to come almost immediately. Right away, the impression is that, oh my goodness, this is way too thick than what I want. But don't worry, it is better for it to start to be thick because you can dilute it with water. And it works really well, and the water will gradually dissolve whatever the clumps that you might have in the gravy. And the nice thing of starting for it to be thicker than you want, you can always dilute it down. And making a cornstarch gravy actually is very forgiving. You can thicken it as well by adding more cornstarch water suspension. So here you have a foundation for the gravy, and now you can season it in many different ways that you want. Probably one of the easiest ways to season it to give the gravy a nice savory umami flavor is to add oyster sauce. In this case, I decided I'm going to add some garlic. I use garlic that already pre-minced. Here I add approximately about 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. If you don't like garlic, you can omit it. After I mixed the content well, I decided the color is perhaps too light and I would like to make it darker. One easier way to make the color darker is to add some dark soy sauce. Again, this is completely optional, because you can add the light soy sauce or just the regular soy sauce. I did a taste test and I decided I would like the flavor more savory, so I add a little bit of my Wok with Tak basic seasoning mix. I add approximately about half tablespoon. And so far so good. I like the consistency of the gravy. It is perfect for this intention. And next, I pour the gravy over the egg. It looks pretty good. A good representation of what an egg foo young dish should be like, at least the way how I remember. The final step is to garnish the dish with some scallion. These are the scallions I have cut into strips. This is much better than the scallion that you chop into small pieces, but that will work as well. So as you can see here, the main characteristics of this egg foo young dish is the way how the egg is cooked. This is more like an egg omelette than an egg scrambled. And then furthermore is that it always have this gravy that to go with the dish. Now the gravy turned out to be great. After I make this dish, I realized that I really enjoyed it, because imagine if I'm going to have some rice and I want to eat this dish as the primary dish for that meal. the gravy adds a lot because the gravy can really help to make the rice more savory and make the eating experience more enjoyable. So in terms of ingredients, you can make this egg foo young dish in whatever way that you would like. You can choose whatever ingredients that you might have on hand or what you prefer. For example, you can add shrimp, but of course you have to cook the shrimp first because the egg foo young cooks very quickly. Or you can use chicken, or you can use ham. The possibility is limitless. It is a good example in demonstrating the effectiveness of template-based cooking. By using two different templates, a scrambled template versus an egg foo young template, you can use basically the same ingredients by making changes, how you cook them, and you could create many different varieties and variations. So I strongly recommend you to give this a try. I have the link to the recipe of this dish below the video, and you can use that to help you in making this dish. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about this cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.